Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm doing another Shorty September vlog this time. For the last few months I've been picking my books randomly as I go and centering them around a theme. In August I did Women in Translation Month, and this month I'm doing Shorty September. So I've gathered all the books under 200 pages and put their names in this little cup, and I will randomly pick them as I go along. I already did one vlog for Shorty September, which should be up on my channel if you want to check it out, and I have been doing the prompts as well. So far I've done the Rockstar Shorts, which is read a book and pair it with a song or an album, and I've read We Have Always Lived in the Castle for that. I did the Leopard Print Shorts, which is read a book you've seen someone reading in the wild, and for that I read Journal of a Queer Black Nurse. And then, that's not on this sheet, is the bonus prompt, which were Paul Mescal's shorts, which was read an Irish book, and for that I read Falling Animals by Sheila Armstrong, I think. So yeah, now we are into the second week of Shorty September. I have one more week off from work. I don't really have any big plans for this week. I just want to see what I'm in the mood for. But I am gonna pick a new book to read right now. So let's get something from the cup. Let's go for that one. I've been picking loads of books from my own TBR, which is brilliant. These are color coded. I've got books from my own TBR, like my physical TBR, my TBR from Kobo Plus, and then I've put some rereads in as well. So this is the children's Bach, which is brilliant because it's by Helen Garner, who's an Australian writer, so that means I've also sneaking in some books for Straya September. So there we have it, the children's Bach. I think this was published in the 80s, so that means I could fit it in with one of the prompts. Yes, 1984. And this, I believe it's about a family who are just living their lives in an Australian suburb until like a college friend of the father of the family comes to visit and kind of shakes things up. One of the main reasons why I picked this up was this quote on the back, where like different people like put a quote on about the book, and this one said, "Perfect, I was so stunned that I wanted to run around the block." And I think a book that makes you want to run around the block is bound to be a good one. So I have finished The Children's Bach by Helen Garner. I think I really liked this. There were some bits I had some problems with. I'll mention those later, but I feel overall this is really good. So this book is about Athena and Dexter. They are a couple living with their two sons in the suburbs of Melbourne, Australia. Their house is a bit sparse and creaky, but it seems like they are living a life of perfect domestic bliss. Their house seems very cozy and welcoming, and then one day Dexter runs into one of his old friends from college, Elizabeth, and he invites her over to the house together with Elizabeth's sister Vicky. And then Elizabeth also has this kind of on and off boyfriend who gets involved in the story later on. He's a musician and he's very much living the rock star lifestyle. So that's the setup, and obviously things happen with the people involved. There's a quote on the back that really kind of sums it up. it says, something important is happening in this family, thought Vicky, and I am part of it now, whether I like it or not. I don't think I should tell you exactly what happens. Basically, slowly but surely, cracks start to show in this family. I think the writing of this is really amazing. It reminded me a little bit of Virginia Woolf, especially in the switching of perspective, like she does in Mrs. Dalloway. For example, Elizabeth goes to pick up her sister Vicky at the airport, and you read from Elizabeth's perspective, but then she sees Vicky at the gate, and then it will jump to Vicky's perspective. It also jumps in time in a way that reminded me kind of fast forwarding a tape. Like, we are at the airport, we fast forward, and now we're at the house. There's also a great scene with a family dinner where for half a page you just get different sentences that were said during that dinner, just one after the other, which I thought was really cleverly done, because you get a great sense of what happened and what was said and talked about during that dinner without, you know, writing out the whole thing or retroactively talking about it. And I think Helen Garner has just such a precise way of deciding what to talk about in this book, and what to leave out. She will highlight some passages that maybe seem unimportant to the plot, like she will have a beautiful description of someone playing the piano, and, you know, write about that in a very slow and detailed way. But then some things that maybe seem to be a bit more important are only talked about indirectly. So, for example, someone will be having a fight, but we only read about this because someone hears it through a wall. Yeah, I feel like the writing is so well done. It feels very original. I don't know if you can see it, but I have dog marked so many pages, because there's passages where I thought, you know, that is such an interesting way of writing this story. Yeah, I think this really shows a family who at first sight seem to have it all together. But I think, like with every household, there's always sorrows and things happening behind the curtains. It's about family and marriage and domesticity, and like both the good and the bad of that. I think the characters are deeply flawed. They're often very unlikable. They can be mean and degrading to one another, and that kind of brings me to the point, to the main point I didn't like about it. And if it wasn't for that one thing, I would be recommending this book left, right and center, but now I feel like I really can't. And that is that one of Dexter's and Athena's son is described in a way that you know he's possibly on the autism spectrum. He seems to be having difficulties regulating his emotions. He seems maybe non-verbal, maybe having learning difficulties. And the way he's described and talked about in this book, and the way he is treated by his family members, is really atrocious. And I get that part of that will be because of the time it was written in, and I think Helen Garner uses it as an example of how mothers can have dark thoughts about motherhood and their children, and how child raising can be incredibly overwhelming. But still, I found reading that very upsetting, and it was shocking, and I felt like the author took a little bit too far. So that obviously makes me hesitant to recommend this book, even though I feel like the writing itself is really brilliant, and she explores some really interesting topics in this book, and I'd definitely be interested in reading more of her work. So yeah, that was The Children's Bach by Helen Garner. Let me grab my prompt sheet for the readathon. So I'm gonna use it for the jorts, or the jean shorts, which is really something from the 70s or 80s. I could also use it for the rockstar shorts, because, like the title may suggest, the children's Bach, it has music in it as well, so you could pair it with music. I feel like maybe food has a role in this book as well. There's especially a scene where they're making soup, so you could read this book and eat soup. That would pair really well. But yeah, I'm gonna go for the book from the 70s and 80s for this one. And now I'm gonna pick another book. So I've got my cup here, and let's see what is up next. Let's go for this one, and that is a book on my Kobo, which is Strega, which is a translated book. I can't remember the author's name right now, but I think it's translated from Swedish, or at least a Scandinavian author, and I remember nothing of what this book is about. So let's find out together. Okay, so this is by Johanna Lykke Holm. It's translated by Saskia Vogel, and it says, powerfully inventive and atmospheric, a modern Gothic story of 9 young women sent to work at a remote alpine hotel, and what happens when one of them goes missing. Yeah, that actually sounds really good. So, plans for today. I have decided to paint this wall behind me. I am really tired of the blue. I don't know, I liked it, but you know, sometimes you just want something else. So my plan is to paint the wall, although probably there will be very little painting done because I have to like get all the stuff off the wall, clean it, tape all the sides and everything, so that probably will take me quite a while, and realistically I won't get to the painting today yet. But it does mean this will probably be the last time you will see this wall. So I am very much in the trust the process phase of painting a wall. I moved all the stuff from the walls here, which is now in the middle of my living room, and I cleaned the wall, and now I am still deciding on which color I should get for this wall. I'm leaning towards one of these lighter hues, but I haven't decided yet. But this is all I'm gonna do today, because I've got dance classes now, and I don't think I will feel like doing more this evening. Maybe I'll put down like a floor covering. I probably mostly feel like just curling up with a book when I get back home, but who knows what kind of energy I might get later on. Okay, I just wanted to say that amongst all the covering, taping off, priming and putting on the first layer of white paint, I did also start Strega, and so far it's really good. Actually, one of the quotes in the front said that if Fleur Jaggi and Shirley Jackson had ever spent the night together in the Shining Hotel, their love child might have been Strega. And yeah, I'm definitely getting Shirley Jackson vibes from this. And I read Fleur Jaggi, one of her books last year. I can't remember the title, but that also had that similar tone. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's about this young woman who walks away from home and goes to work at a hotel in I think it's the Swiss Alps, and again it just has a vibe, you know. I'll read you the first paragraph because that is one of the best first paragraphs I've ever read. Like, I've reread it a couple of times because I thought it was just really, really good. Hold on, let me turn you around. So for some reason the audio quality of this clip got really weird, so I'm gonna try a voiceover, which is not something I've ever done before, so please bear with. It says, I studied my reflection in the mirror. I recognized the image of a young but fallen woman. I leaned forwards and pressed my mouth to it. Fog spread across the glass like condensation in a room where someone has been sleeping deeply, like the dead. Behind me I saw the room reflected. On the bed lay hairpins, sleeping pills, and cotton knickers. The sheets were stained with milk and blood. I thought, if someone took a picture of this bed, any decent person would think it was a reproduction of a young girl's murder or an especially brutal kidnapping. I knew a woman's life could at any point be turned into a crime scene. I think that's brilliant. And very, very promising. So I'm in the woods, as you can see. I had to return my mum's car to her today, so I thought I'd take a walk in the woods that is sort of closest to my parents' house. These are the woods that I used to visit as a kid, and maybe it's nostalgia, but I feel like this forest just has that perfect forest smell. Like, I don't know, just a perfect combination of like pine and moss and grass and yeah, I always notice it whenever I go here, how perfect the forest smell is here. Also, it had rained yesterday and now it's sunny, so we're like in that perfect summer to autumn transition. So yeah, I'm having a good time in the forest. I'm gonna walk a trail that's about 5 kilometers. So that should take me about an hour, and then afterwards I'll get lunch at a place that's like right at the end of the trail. Did I maybe mark that out on purpose? Maybe, maybe not. So every summer as a kid we used to have summer camp here. Well, not like camp because we didn't stay over at night, but like during the day we had like 4 days in summer where we would spend time in these woods, and like every day you had a different kind of games. So you had water games, forest games, sand games, and this is why we had the water games. And I have spent so many hours mucking about in this lake. I recently actually found, or my dad showed me a video they made of one of the camps in like 1992. So if you want to see like a perfect 90s kids summer camp kind of vibe, I'll see if I can link it down below because it is quite something. And this is where we used to have like the base camp. So we'd enter right about here, and then there were like small tents all around and then the youngest children would be like right at the beginning, and then the older you were, the further you had to go back. And then right by here, there is also always some kind of stage, because they used to do like a little play at the beginning and the end of the day. I don't know if anyone cares about this, but I'm talking about it now. And this is also where we used to have sand games, which were my least favorite because it meant you had to walk through this sand pit in the heat if you were unlucky. And then here is the water pump, which wasn't drinking water, but of course if you're on a summer camp you need more water to muck about. So the amount of times I've lugged buckets of water from the pump to wherever our little tent was are innumerable. I think it still works. It does. And then the sound of water on sand making a lot of mud. Komt eraan, jullie? Ja, dankjewel. Right, here I am by my newly painted wall. It shows up a little bit lighter on camera. It is actually a little bit darker and brighter in real life. And after all that, I'm not entirely convinced I picked the right color. Actually now in the morning light I quite like it, but then during the day it becomes more sort of mermaidy swimming pool color and less the kind of Scandi chic light green I was going for. Well, it is what it is. I'm not gonna paint it again right this minute, maybe in the future, but for now I'm sticking with this. Anyway, I wanted to come here and say that I finished Strega and I thought it was great. I think if you're looking for a book to transition you into autumn, this will be a great pick. So this is about a young woman, I guess she's about 18 or 19 years old, and she goes to work in a hotel in the Swiss Alps, and you get the idea that this hotel used to be kind of a big deal, like a grand, kind of prestigious hotel. But it's past its glory days now. It doesn't really have that many guests anymore, and from all you read about it, it's kind of, you know, crumbling at the edges. So our protagonist, Rafaela, she starts working there together with 9 other girls. And they all come from farther away, so they all stay at the hotel as well. And for the first few weeks that they are there are actually no guests. But they are still trained to do everything like the hotel was just running as normally. So they clean the rooms, they change the sheets, they set out breakfast. They are almost like drilled to repeat the same chores over and over and over again. And throughout the book you get this idea that something's up at the hotel. Like there's this smell of chlorophyll. There's a plot in the garden that only has poisonous plants. And like, why is there a new set of girls coming every year and no one ever returns? That's nuns, which, you know, that's creepy in itself. You know, the girls share a dorm room, they like read tarot cards. Like this book is just the epitome of eeriness. It just has this threatening tone all throughout it. But then this book is also all vibes and no plot. Like nothing happens in this book. Well, actually on the blurb it says that one of the girls goes missing, and she does, but the book just kind of meanders around it, and then you know, the ending kind of fizzles out. So don't pick this book for the plot, because that just isn't one. But you know, there's a lot to ponder about throughout this book. It's about womanhood, it's about the loss of the individual self, it's about female friendship, it's about violence against women, it's about the expectations that society sets on women and girls. It's just all explored in this gothic setting It has beautiful imagery. I really loved writing in this, and like I said, just these really unsettling, eerie vibes. Just a really good book to pick up right now. So yeah, I'm gonna use this book for the Shorts with Pockets prompt, which is a book that has something on the cover that you can put in your pocket, and the cover has the head of, and the cover has a picture of a girl actually smoking a cigarette. You can put a cigarette in your pocket, although I would put it out before you put it in your pocket. And she also has a bracelet, which you can also put in your pocket. So that's what I'm using it for. And now I'm gonna pick my next book. So I got my cup here again. This was a book for my Kobo, so I have to make sure I pick a book from my own TBR. Let's go for this one. That's not for my own TBR. Oh, this one is. And this is Split Tooth. Can't remember the author at the top of my head, but it's an indigenous author. Okay, I just looked it up, and it's by Tanya Tagaq, and she's an Inuit author, and it's about this young girl growing up in like a small Arctic town in the 1970s, and what happens when she gets pregnant. That's the next book I'm going to read. So today I'm going to visit another city, or actually not, more like a town, I guess. It's not that big. It's about 45 minutes on the train, and I don't know, it's just like this, it's just one of those like old timey towns, and people say that it's nice to visit, so that's just what I'm gonna do, and you know, just explore a new place, and I'll take you along. Here I am having a coffee to start my day. Zutphen is a very old town, so I'm just going to show you some old buildings. I picked out a walk that led me along some different courtyards in town, so this is one of them. And here's a cat sleeping on a car. And there were some really old structures as well, like this 1300 something gate. Here's another part of that as well, the old city walls. Here's another little courtyard where apparently all the houses were just 100 square feet big. Here's a very cute little house with a cat. Let's just zoom in a little bit. The cat doesn't seem to be very interested in me. In fact, I think he's gonna go away. Oh wait, no, he is posing for me very beautifully. Thank you, cat, for posing so beautifully. And here's a display at a house with all these stuffed mice. And here is a very old church. Yeah, just a regular old church. Or is it? No, it's not. It's a library. Let's go inside. And this is amazing. It's a library in a church, and it's really, really beautiful. Yep, just stunning. I don't really know what to say more about this other than this is amazing. Anyway, I went outside again. Here's some more old buildings. And here's a very cute little bakery. Of course, I went inside as well and had a look at all these delicious goodies. Here's another little courtyard with another cat. That was quick cat. Here's another cat. I'm not really a cat person, but I'm doing all this for you, you other cat people out there. Here is some other buildings and a courtyard with a statue of a lady. And then it started to rain, so I went inside and had a cup of tea, read some in my book, just had a cozy time, watching the people go by, and also had some delicious lunch. This was some mushroom shawarma, and I went book shopping. There we go. Bookstore was right next door. It was very cozy, very well curated, looked really lovely, had all these pictures of female authors at the top there. Uh, I just had a moment of silence for that creaking door. And here is some butterflies. Um, yep. And it looked like I did nothing but, went to the bookstore and had more cake, but I didn't actually stroll around. Okay, holy crap. This book, oh my god. This, it has a hold on me. It has grabbed me and has not quite let go just yet. I am hesitant to recommend it to just everyone because one, it gets heavy on the magical realism. It just gets weird in a dark way and disturbing. And I know that's not going to be for everyone. And two, it comes with some heavy trigger warnings. Most importantly, child sexual abuse. And the author herself also puts a trigger warning for that at the beginning of the book. But also violence, murder, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, suicidal ideation. It's a lot. But if you're like, okay, I'm willing to give this a go when the time is right, please do, because this book is amazing. So it's about a teenage Inuit girl. She's grown up in the 1970s in Nunavut, Canada. So the landscape is the Arctic tundra. And you read about what it's like for her to grow up in this environment. She has a lot of dark things happening in her life. She witnesses a lot of violence and alcohol abuse in her family. She suffers sexual abuse from a teacher, and she also witnesses her peers getting abused. She turns to various substances. There is cruelty and bullying from her classmates. It speaks of colonialism and the ongoing influence of that on the Inuit people, and it is just generally a lot. It also has a lot of descriptions of the physical environment she is living in, and just life in the Arctic, the danger of living in such a cold, harsh place, and the unforgiving nature of it, what it's like during the polar night and the polar day, when it's light all around the clock, and you have these groups of kids basically running wild. There's descriptions on how to deal with potentially dangerous wildlife like polar bears and feral foxes, and you just get a real sense of this place. And the further you get into this book, the more the lines between reality and the more mythical and folklore parts of this book start to blur. Our protagonist has a way of communicating with the spirit world, basically through nature, so through animals, but also with the northern lights and the wind, and she sometimes loses herself in that world, and you're not always sure of what is real and what is not. I think the way to read this is not to try and understand it, but just let the story take you, because even though I might not understand everything what's going on in this book, it still spoke to me, and I feel like something in me got this book on just another level. It makes it so that all these dark things happening in this young woman's life move into this magical, mythical, fierce and raw energy. I think the writing in this is beautiful. It's very lyrical and poetic. It actually mixes more sort of straight for prose, like this, with bits of poetry or maybe song lyrics, like that. The author is a throat singer, and she's a musical artist as well, and I think that really shines through in this book. I have looked up some of her music, and one song in particular I found has lyrics that were in this book as well. So I'll link that down below, because I think the music also makes you have a feel for this book. Yeah, it's hard to convey what this book is doing. It really defies genres, and again, I don't think this is going to be for everyone. You know, if you try this and you end up not liking this, then I totally get it. But I do think that if you do connect with it, you will love it on like another level. I, for one, will not forget this book anytime soon. So yeah, that's that one. Let me get the prompt sheet. I'm gonna put this in for a book that mixes genres, which are the new metal Bermuda shorts, and obviously it would work great for the Rockstar shorts as well. And then this was the last book I read for this vlog. In case you were wondering, yes, I did buy some books at that bookstore the other day, but I'm going to leave that for the next vlog. If you have any thoughts or questions or comments, please leave them down below. Are you reading any good books? And thank you so much for watching. That's it for today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.